All that new technology you're so proud of adopting might actually be making your organization dumber faster. When I was a new teacher, my colleagues called me the tech whiz. I was the first to get a smart board, the first to figure out how to make the very complicated copying machine copy front to back, and the first to adopt new apps. I thought I was an innovator because I was using technology to make better worksheets and more efficient lesson plans? Yeah, eventually I realized the hard truth. I wasn't changing the game, I was just making the old broken system run a little bit faster. I was building a more efficient worksheet factory. And today, leaders everywhere are making the same mistake with AI. They're using this revolutionary technology as just a faster horse, getting generic answers and automating outdated processes without ever changing the underlying thinking. The truth is, the biggest barrier to innovation isn't a lack of tools, it's the lack of a human led framework to command the tools. The real work isn't about getting faster answers, it's really about learning how to ask the right questions. The single biggest mistake people make with AI is treating it like a search engine. But there's a critical difference that separates amateurs from strategic operators. A search engine finds existing answers, but a well framed problem helps you create new ones. So, first, stop asking for answers and start framing problems. Now, before you type anything, give the AI a specific role to play, like act as an expert data analyst. Providing this rich context and then giving your constraints and defining the exact format you want the output in is how you change the game. And it all starts with your ability to observe your situation and describe it with detail using really robust language. Honestly, that is the foundational skill for commanding these tools. All this time, we've been thinking about prompting, and what we really need to focus on is language. Language is that dividing line. In order to use these tools effectively, the language base has to be really robust, which means not only knowing what you're trying to do, but also being able to be descriptive with it in a way that conveys the image or intent that you have in your mind. And listen, I think this is a really challenging skill to develop. We've all become so very nuanced in our own lane. We know all of the lingo and the jargon that we use as part of our jobs, but maybe we don't know how to define style and tone of writing. Maybe we don't know how to define or describe the image mood when we're trying to create it. It turns out that in order to be better in this set, we actually need to develop a language base and a more comprehensive understanding of what styles and tones and outputs actually look like. So when we, excuse me, so when we put those things together in a final product, they are as we envisioned. We're commanding with direct constraints. And the last part is really to define the exact format that you want this output in. When you are putting in your prompt, it is so important to tell it what you want back. Do you want an image? Do you want a table? Do you want a checklist? Do you want somebody to yell at you in a British accent? Okay, that might be a little strange, but you get the point. The output constraints really matter. So again, as you are putting together a prompt, it's about the language you choose and the specificity of that language. It's about giving really solid constraints and defining the exact output that you want. And it's also about setting up for success by telling the AI how you want it to act. As an industry leader, as a cinematographer, as an IEP specialist, those things matter in terms of what output you get. All right, the second mistake here is to treat AI as an intern instead of a collaborator. Because listen, that used to be the story we were told, right? If you work with your AI tools, it's like having a really solid intern who may or may not have finished high school and then may or may not have finished college. But now the AI is kind of finished with grad school. It's gotten really quite developed, quite smart and intuitive. And so we need to consider how to collaborate with AI and not just give it tasks to perform. The first output that you get should never be your final answer. It's really the start of a conversation. A conversation. The real breakthrough is going to happen when you master this back and forth, this tit for tat process of iteration and providing feedback to hone in on exactly what you want and exactly what you envisioned. You want to challenge the assumptions. You want to ask it to defend its reasoning. You want it to explain itself. Remember, you are the expert, and your job is to use AI as a tool to amplify your own brilliance. All right, so third, use AI to improve your thinking and not replace it. Okay, I see these posts everywhere. People keep saying this, don't forget the human element, don't let AI replace you. And there's some validation to this, right? The ultimate goal isn't to get the machine to think for you. It's to force you to think better. So you want to feed it your best ideas and prompt it to play devil's advocate and help it to challenge your thinking and your assumptions so you can push yourself forward. If you can use it to find your own blind spots by asking a simple, powerful question like, what am I missing? Well, then you have just made the AI tool a tool you can use to amplify yourself, your creativity, your innovation, your thinking. Not only that, but when you ask these types of questions, it really does connect to your prior knowledge and the constraints and thinking that you have already in your head. By tapping into that and challenging that and building upon that, you become smarter. You become more knowledgeable. You become more capable of doing the job that you are trying to do because you have a bigger scope of knowledge that comes from collaboration and not just asking questions and taking the answers. When you make this final shift, AI stops being a productivity hack and becomes a powerful tool for amplifying your intelligence. The real shift we need is not about learning a new piece of technology. It's about giving ourselves permission to think on a higher level. It's about trading the baggage of copy paste answers for the belonging that comes from creating truly original ideas and leading with a human first vision. That's you. If you are ready to move beyond lazy questions and start building that culture of innovation, the first step is to open a door. I invite you to join the Open Door Collective. It is our free community for leaders on this journey. The link is in the description. All right, y'all, I'm Io Jones. Let's build belonging together.